Good morning. We are here in Langley at All Seasons, and yes, we are talking mushrooms. How do they grow? How long does it take to get them to full size? We're going to find out coming up next here in Langley. We'll be right back. Good morning. Yeah, we're here in Langley at All Seasons Mushrooms. Frank, first of all, it smells very fresh in here. A lot of people might have a misconception about what a mushroom farm is all about.
Really?
It's fresh. It smells like mushrooms.
It does.
Yeah, so that's an important thing to note, right?
It does. I mean, most people have this conception or misconception that mushrooms are grown in smelly stuff, okay? Let's call it poop, okay?
Yeah, sure, let's call it that.
But basically, it's not so.
So what is it actually grown in?
Well, we call this compost. And
okay.
Compost is basically comprised of a mixture of straw and poultry manure, which has been composted in a very stringent time-temperature process, goes through a pasteurization process, and subsequently, weeks later, it's planted here.
Now, we got several mushrooms of varying sizes. What is the actual growing cycle of a mushroom?
The growing cycle in this type of operation, at an all-seasons operation, is 4 weeks.
Okay, so that means what? So, for instance, something this small, how long till it gets to maybe something like that big?
What the 4 weeks means is that when we start putting the compost in the room and start over again for another cycle, that's a 4-week spread. When we actually put the compost in the room, 2 weeks after, the mushrooms start to grow, to be harvested.
So we've got Ho right now that is actually picking the mushrooms. So for some that she's leaving behind, it could be as soon as this afternoon that she'll go back and pick.
Yeah, the idea is to pick the mushrooms to have a crop susceptible to be picked over 3 to 4 days, predominantly 4 days. Therefore, because mushrooms grow at a rate of 4% per hour, meaning that they almost double in size in 24 hours, you don't pick mushrooms until they're ready to be picked.
Well, we are going to be here all morning long here in Langley at All Seasons Mushrooms. For more details on them, of course, you can check out their website, but we've got lots more coming up throughout the morning on BT. So we're here in Langley at All Seasons Mushrooms. How do you know when it's right to pick a mushroom? How long does it take to grow? And what makes a perfect mushroom itself? Stay with us. You're watching BT. I better get ready to start picking here. Okay. I like that one. Well, now these, Frank, are beautiful mushrooms. In fact, I was just up on one of the pickers where, wow, you have a lot of mushrooms still to pick, right? These are a perfectly beautiful mushroom.
They are.
We're here, by the way, at All Seasons Mushrooms in Langley. You are certified organic.
We are.
That's an important thing.
It most definitely is for many of our customers.
And our industry is really quite large here.
It's about 75 million pounds a year.
So we like our mushrooms.
You do like your mushrooms. We're glad for it.
Yes, and these are perfect. Now we have many different sizes here. We talked a little bit about the growing, how it's 4% per hour. So let's put that into relation to something like this. When you look at something this small, how long till it gets to something that you can pick?
I would say from there to there is probably 3 days.
3 days.
Okay.
And what is the proper way to pick a mushroom?
The proper way to pick a mushroom is to basically grab it, twist it, and pull it out, and cut the stem.
Now, when we go to the grocery store, for instance, we can see the gills. What is that indicative of?
The gills are basically indicative of the fact that the mushroom has probably sat there for longer than, I don't want to say longer than it should, but it's basically age. But not to say that it's a bad mushroom.
No, you could still eat it,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
What would be the average life of a mushroom in my fridge, for instance?
In your fridge, if you take care of it, good cold chain, I would say 10 days. I take it home. We're very conscious of cold chain. It'll be in the fridge for 2 weeks, okay? And they still look very good. Our customers, we tell our customers, 7, 8 days on the shelf type of thing.
Beautiful. Well, for more details on All Seasons Mushrooms, you can check out their website. We've got lots more coming up throughout the morning here in Langley, including later on, we're actually going to be cooking up a beautiful mushroom dish. Back to you guys. Yeah, exactly. We're out here in Langley at All Seasons Mushrooms. It all starts, though, with the growing process with the compost. We're going to talk about when they actually get inoculated with the mushrooms and, yeah, just the whole process out here in Langley. Stay with us. One of the best parts is getting outside and meeting everybody and checking out some of the great local businesses, including All Seasons Mushrooms. Now, Frank, I have to say, before we went to break, our audio guy was playing that song, you know, ooh, that smell.
Oh.
But there is no, I mean, it smells like fresh dirt out here.
The smell of money.
A smell of money. And it all starts with this for the growing of mushrooms. What is this?
This is the compost that we talked about earlier that has been inoculated about 2 weeks ago. It's undergone a process, and from here it's going to the growing.
And so how much compost will you actually
today in that room we will put about 60 tons in.
Wow, 60 tons. Okay, let's get a bit of a lay of the land out here. So walk us through here.
So what happens, it goes into this conveyor, up into that machine. It is then joined by another material from the other conveyor.
I got a little compost in my hair.
Okay.
Is that normal? Okay.
And it then gets transferred on each of these growing beds, and we can see that over here. Okay. So I don't know if you can see it, but what's coming off of this machine is in essence a sausage that is in essence the bed of compost that's being pulled all the way to the end. You might be able to see the top layer of it. Well, you see how that. Hold on.
There you go. That's all right. This is fascinating stuff. There it is.
You see how it's moving?
I can definitely see it moving. You know, there's lots to growing a mushroom here at All Seasons Mushrooms in Langley, where we've talked a little bit about how they grow. The fact that, again, it's 4% every hour, so you can essentially have finished mushrooms within just a matter of days.
We'll be picking mushrooms in 2 weeks from today, and we'll pick mushrooms for 2 weeks after that, and that makes a combination of 4 weeks.
Wonderful. More details on All Seasons. You can check out their website. Coming up just before 9 o'clock, we are going to be cooking up some beautiful mushrooms there back at the station.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
We've seen the compost, we've seen how they grow, Pat, and now we're going to talk about varieties, and I was surprised to know that these ones here are essentially all the same mushroom.
They are. The brown mushrooms, they all come from the same category. This large cremini here, okay, if left on the bed for 24 hours, becomes a mini portobello, and subsequently becomes a large port.
So
okay?
one's just got more age on it.
That's right. A portobello is basically an oversized cremini.
Let's talk about the different other kinds of mushrooms you have here.
We got the white mushrooms, which is predominantly 85% of an industry sale. Okay, we have the bulk, we have the stuffers, if you wish to buy them in for stuffing purposes. We have the slice. So we have a good mixture of an assortment of both white and brown.
And so different mushrooms would be well served for different things. The flavor essentially between a white cremini and a brown?
Well, the white mushroom is more of a mild woodsy flavor.
Okay.
Okay. The cremini is more of an earthy, more intense, adds a lot of flavor to any dish. And if you don't have any white mushrooms for any specific recipe, okay, a brown mushroom is just as well.
It works just as well. And coming up, Jody, just before 9 o'clock, we've got Ashley, who is the chef over at Bacchus Bistro at Domaine de Chabenton. We are making a 4 mushroom ragout in pastry. Yum, yum. Well, you know, we've been learning about mushrooms, how they're grown, how long it takes to grow them, but what do you do with them? We got some great ideas coming up next. Well, I've got the wine ready to go. We're going to have some 4 mushroom ragout coming up next. Stay with us. You're watching BT Live from Langley. Finally, we get to eat and give, hopefully, our viewers some inspiration about what to do with their mushrooms. And we eat a lot of mushrooms in Canada, certainly in BC. And Bacchus Bistro out in Langley, of course, at Chaberton Estate Winery. It's nice to see you again. It's been a while.
Thank you. Good to see you again, too.
We're making a 4 mushroom ragout.
Yeah. So I'm just sweating off some onions and garlic and butter here. And then we're going to be cooking with some portobello, shiitake, oyster, and cremini mushrooms. Just add that to the pan. Once the butter's all nice and sizzling, just give that a gentle toss. Not going in too hard, don't want to break up the mushrooms. A little salt, a little fresh ground pepper. Mushrooms love pepper. Just give that a toss.
Now, of course, mushrooms are made up of a lot of water, so...
Yeah, so you don't want to overcrowd the pan. We're cooking with a liquid here, so some white wine for some acidity to balance out the richness, and then we'll add some cream here. Just enough to gently cover.
And that would cook for a little while?
About 3 to 4 minutes. I have one here that I started a little bit earlier. That you can see the cream is reduced down. We're just adding a little fresh chive. And we're going to serve the ragout in a puff pastry shell called a vol au vent.
Gorgeous. Now, I am drinking a beautiful Bacchus Reserve. Why would this wine go well with this?
Well, it has a nice bit of sweetness. It's not too sweet, but it does really well with creamy foods. And I'm just going to finish that with a little chive blossom on top. Makes a great starter for lunch.
Beautiful. And speaking of lunch, great food over at Bacchus out in Langley. Thank you so much to All Seasons Mushrooms for having us out here this morning. Just a few entertaining ideas, Jody, using something that we all just love so much, the beautiful mushroom.